The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussions. You have been warned. You have been warned. If you're still here, welcome to the show. We are your video store clerks. Happy New Year.
Almost.
Hey.
We're not there yet. But yeah.
This is another one of our holiday specials, and our holiday specials will continue throughout the week. We'll get to that later. And gentlemen, we also have another special celebration coming up in 2 weeks. Do you know what that is? It will be our 50th episode.
Man, I'm 50. Hit it.
Excellent.
And we'll also be on again this Friday. We'll get to that later. So stay tuned. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of crap has come out of Hollywood lately. But there's also been a lot of good things. And we're going to focus on that because we're positive people.
There was one of the biggest crap, real quick. The biggest crap, though, in Hollywood was from Johnny Depp's woman. So that's for this year.
Amber's turd.
That's right, Amber's turd. Yeah.
But tonight on Video Store Clerks, your clerks will give you their top 3 favorite movies to come out of 2022 before we wrap this year up. Are we ready to get to it?
Do it.
I didn't do a New Year's thing, but I got something else for you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Are you ready?
Oh, boy.
Let's get the party started.
Welcome to the store.
There, YouTube. We did our own music.
Finally.
I wish you would have let us actually record that, like what it's actually going to sound like. But yeah,
We'll get to that later.
It's the rough cut.
Yes, that's the rough cut. So
it's the rough cut.
So we shouldn't get clapped. We shouldn't get clapped tonight. But we'll see. YouTube.
I don't want to get clapped tonight.
You don't want to get the clap. We are your video store clerks. I'm Dave.
Chad, man.
Mike.
Chuck.
And welcome again to Video Store Clerks. How is everybody?
Great.
All right. Great.
Still kicking.
Still kicking.
Still
Well,
kicking.
before we get our top 3, as usual, let's do the news. Fart noise.
Nasty.
Well, we'll start with some good news. The latest season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia will start filming next month. So I'll expect a brand new season, probably September-ish.
Excellent.
In some crazy news, and you're not going to believe this, and I'm not kidding, Bill Cosby will be going on tour in the spring, summer of next year.
Cool. Maybe somebody have a chance to shoot him in the face.
I thought you said this was good news.
That's not good news.
Weird news. And
First one's good news. This is just like really fucked up news.
It's just weird.
Guy.
I had to report.
It is weird.
Like
going on tour?
Yeah.
Like comedy?
Yeah.
Like people are gonna laugh? I mean, no. Like, oh god, that's like R Kelly going on tour.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his content going to be?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect like a Netflix special out of that one. I don't think anybody's going to pick that up.
He's joking with little girls. Somebody shoot him. Get rid of him.
When I was in jail, I had Jello pudding in jail.
I had the pudding and the pops and fuck him. Fuck you, Bill Cosby. You know, real quick. Fuck him, since you want to bring that up. I didn't even know this shit was going on. Motherfucker used to bitch. I remember him bitching about the Osbournes because they cuss too much. Really? I don't remember them raping anybody.
Fuck you, Eddie. Back to the good news.
I did tell a guy at work the other day to have a Coke and a smile.
Did he get it?
I don't think so.
Damian Leon has
Nope.
gone on record and gone on
Leone.
Twitter and said, "Huh,
Leone,
I'm sorry,
this guy.
cut that." Oh fuck, we're live.
Anyway,
He's going on record to say that Terrifier 3 will be the darkest one yet. He'll go back to the short film kind of feel to it, the dark atmosphere. It'll be the scariest one yet, he says.
excellent. I hope so.
We'll see.
In other news, Kevin Smith's schedule is full. Moose Jaws is apparently going forward, as is the prequel to Mallrats, as is the sequel to Red State, as is another Jay and Silent Bob movie, and another movie called the 440 movie. Will any of these actually get made? I don't know, but he says so.
I love Kevin Smith. I really do. I have a
Mhm.
soft spot for Kevin Smith, but dude, god damn it.
But that's a lot.
I don't think I honestly I know that I'm gonna get shit for this probably from a lot of people, whatever, but I think Jay and Silent Bob, I don't think they need any more of their own movies. I think they've already done it. I think it's good. Like if they appear here and there like they usually do, fine, that's kind of the MO. But don't give them their own fucking movies. I think that whole thing like is gone, like it's dead. Like it's before it gets really bad. Let's just not fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious about the whole fucking Moose Jaws thing. Like I don't know.
I would say
Like,
that.
He does pretty good. He does pretty good on the thriller aspect of stuff, you know. So I mean the horror comedy thing.
I'm ready. I'm
So,
ready
like,
for Tusk too.
Yeah, he said he has an idea for Tusk 2, but that's kind of as far as it's going. I don't know if we'll ever see that one.
Weren't they talking about doing a Vulgar too?
vulgar. God,
I don't know.
Jesus Christ!
I
Like
hope
I,
not,
he,
but I thought I heard about that in the pipeline a long time ago.
was that Kevin Smith though? It was
He was
it was Skew, but I don't know if he actually. I can't remember if he.
No, he was like an executive.
Brian Johnson's the one that wrote it. I
Yeah,
don't think he
Brian
just produced it.
Johnson.
Yeah, that movie was fucked up. That was not a movie that you were expecting to see.
Yes, that's a movie that is a cruel trick to play on your friends.
It's a revenge film, like a motherfucker, and it's fucked up.
It was like the best time for them to put that out though, because like back then everybody was buying anything that he put out, pretty much like View Askew put out.
He was like, all
So
right.
then like that's pretty much what I did. Like I was like, oh sweet,
Yeah.
so I just bought it, took it to our friend's house, we watched it, and we were like, what the fuck?
Like, oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, really stoned, putting it on, expecting to laugh, and then felt incredibly depressed like through most of that movie. Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah.
The box office, Avatar, of course, was number one, as predicted here on Video Store Clerks. The Christmas season, the Christmas holiday brought in a lot more money. It's supposedly it has passed $1 billion worldwide. I don't know if that's true.
I don't.
That's
Everybody loves flashy things. They like colors. Oh, it must be good. No, it's not. The first one wasn't good either.
The domestic weekend for Avatar was 56 mil. Puss in Boots came in a distant second with 11 mil. Did you know there was a Whitney Houston documentary?
I
Yeah.
saw it advertised
Yeah.
once or twice.
They really like making documentaries over pieces of shit these days, don't they?
After they die.
Yeah, after
Well,
they die.
It came in third, and believe it or not, Violent Night is a number 5, still holding on to the top 5. It
Still
barely
yet to
edged-
see it.
Yeah, me too. Just
I wanna
edged
see it.
out Wakanda Forever for number 5, and the Brad Pitt movie Babylon didn't do so well. It came in number 4.
I don't know much about that one.
Margot Robbie, yeah, and Brad Pitt. That's all I think it's set in the 20s. That's all I really know about it. And that's it. That's all I got. Are we ready? I'm just winging this motherfucker. Well, I did my picks based on like what was refreshing, what was like different, and what like actually got me excited to sit down and watch a movie, which I haven't felt in a couple years. So my number 3 by those standards would have to be the Hellraiser that came out in September, October on Hulu. which nowhere near touched the original. Of course it didn't. I don't think they meant it to, but it was a worthy sequel, and it was something good for the Halloween season. I watched it 5 or 6 times. I still like it. I know you guys didn't. But I was excited for it. I was excited when the trailer came out. I was excited to see the film, and it made me happy. It made me happy, Dan.
You watched it 5 or 6 times?
Yeah.
5 or 6 times, 2 hours of that. Now, okay, wait a second. I will say this. Now, again, that's your pick. That's no big deal. Whatever the fuck. God damn, that is one movie that I watched it once, and I was like, all right, I think I was just so pumped up.
Yeah.
To have it, and then after I watched it a second time, I was like, oh.
That was my thing. Like, I was so pumped up for it when the trailer came out. Like, I was so excited.
Yeah,
and
I tried. I wanted to like it.
It was just a good to feel that way about a movie again, because so much garbage had come out the last couple years. It was like,
yeah,
okay, I'm actually looking forward to this, and I dug it.
There's good. I mean, there's good and bad points to it. Like I won't fight you on that one. I mean, like there's good and bad points to it. I think we needed a Hellraiser to come out that add a little bit something more to it, I guess. But a movie that's actually written, for Hellraiser. I mean, we had. I personally think the Judgment was better than this new one was, but everybody bypassed it, and it's like I don't know. I think this one was just. I don't know.
I watched it like 3 times. Like, I watched it the first time, I didn't really care for it too much, and I was like, I'll go back and went into it, because I just kept comparing it the first time. And then the second time I watched it again with like an open mind, and then I didn't mind it. And then I watched it again, and I was like, I'll probably never watch this again.
Yeah, don't try to compare it to the original. Maybe that's where I went, because I didn't do that. I didn't try to compare it.
It was hard for me not to, though.
I'd rather have the bulk shoe open as we came instead of.
I just saw it as a sequel, as something different.
So I actually, after watching it a second time, and this is really going to get people mad. That really shitty one, Revelation, that came out that was just so fucking bad you couldn't even finish watching it. I think that the new Hellraiser was a better version of that.
Okay. I have to go.
I
don't think I finished Revelations. I don't think I finished that one.
No one did. It was a piece of shit. A piece of garbage.
What was it? Like, it was a lot like Prey, where it was nowhere near the originals, but it was a worthy sequel.
Something even though, like, alive.
Something to give it new life, keep it going. Like Prey, people were saying Prey was better than the first Predator, and I
still have yet to watch that one.
But anyway, that's my pick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fucking completely just. I wasn't going to dig
this whole pick shit. I didn't realize how many fucking movies came out this year.
It was a lot.
I want to say Studio 666.
Really?
Yeah, that's my number.
I still haven't seen it. That's
my number 3 also.
Oh shit!
I wasn't expecting that. That's cool. All right.
It's just a fucking real fun movie. Like, it was like one of them old like rock and roll horror movies that they used to put up back in like the late 70s, early 80s and shit.
Yeah, I need to watch it because the way you guys talk about it, I would really like it.
It's fucking good.
I'm surprised you haven't.
The effects are good. Like, John Carpenter did the fucking main theme song, and then he also played the producer in the movie, and he didn't even take credit for anything, so he just kept his name out of the whole project. Steve Vai was in. He was Dave's stunt hands whenever he was fucking playing the solo. And he was literally across the street from the house they were filming at. He said he just called up Steve Vai one day because they were like, "You need to play a lead solo." And he's like, Steve Vai's across the street. Hold on. He's like, I just picked up the phone. I called him and said, "Come across the street. I'm next door. I need your arms." He's like, "I'll paint some tattoos on you. You can wear my shirt." He's like, "All right."
I didn't realize that part.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people in that movie. Yeah, I was gonna say Kerry King's in it, he's hilarious, playing Krug.
Yeah, and then he gets burned up like Freddy Krueger later in the film.
Yeah. Fucking Lionel Richie, Jenna Ortega, Will Forte,
many people.
A lot of people. Yeah, it's such a fun movie. That goes in the fun category. Even though it kind of sucks because when we talked about that movie on Tell Us the Podcast, we found out right after that we did the podcast that during our podcast they found Taylor Hawkins dead.
Yeah,
and that was a really shitty shitty after that show because I was like really excited because I really love that movie. I think the death scene,
It was good.
the music, everything. It's a good one. It really is. It's definitely
Then they had like all them little like just like little pieces that they took out of like every other like a lot of different horror movies and shit. Like the blood filling up the light bulb like an Evil Dead. Even he said he wanted to make a rock and roll Evil Dead movie. So I mean he pretty much nailed it on that aspect. Then they had the book like made out of human flesh and shit. Like it was a dope ass movie.
Which I'm not sure, but I think the house that they filmed that at is the same house that is supposedly actually haunted.
He said it wasn't haunted, but he used to live there. He said back in the day.
Who?
Dave Grohl.
Oh, because I mean, it may not be, but it looks very similar to the same place that like the Chili Peppers recorded "Blood Sugar Sex Magic" and Slipknot's Iowa. And there was a whole thing. I don't know if it's the same place, but it looks an awful lot like it. So
there was a few interviews he did, and he said it wasn't haunted. And they're like, "You said it was." He's like, "We lied."
Ooh, snap.
He's like, "We were trying to sell a horror movie. We had to."
Damn good one. I mean, it hits all the right spots. It really does. I mean, because you got
just kind of like it all happened because they were going there to record, and they just fucking like just winged it. And they're like, "You know what we should do? Let's make a fucking horror movie."
The music in it's fucking killer too. I mean, like that fucking.
It's probably some of the heaviest shit.
Straight up Doom, dude. That's my shit right there. That's some straight up fucking Doom music right there.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah. It's not boring either. There's not. I mean, it's almost like 2 hours long or some shit, and it's like you're not bored. You're pretty much enthralled through the whole thing. But yeah, I fucking love that movie actually.
And the Pearl Jam high five.
Huh?
They kept doing the Pearl Jam. Oh high five.
10, yeah.
Like they touched base on a lot of shit they liked in that movie. They just took little snippets of everything they liked.
Yeah, the actually talking about the Kerry King in it because Kerry King was his drum tech or whatever the fuck in it.
Yeah, and
the scene where they're setting up the drums and Dave Grohl is like, "No, we need to do it better over here. We need to move it over here." And like and how annoyed Kerry King's getting. And it's just like, okay, in real life, those guys are buds. But it's like, I believe Kerry King to be that annoyed and maybe that pissed off because that's just how he comes off. Like, Slayer, man. You know?
What are you looking at, Mikey?
Well, since that was Chuck's number 3 as well, my number 3, I'm going in a different direction because I kind of figured you guys were going to be in the same ballpark with your picks. So I end up going for number 3. I don't even know if you guys have seen this. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
That was almost my number 3.
That was almost my number 3. I was juggling between that and 2 others.
Right. The martial arts films, the kung fu films are limited anymore anyway. So to see that Michelle Yeoh and Ke Kwan, old school short round from Temple of Doom and Data from Goonies. This is his first role in like 20 years. He quit acting pretty much after Goonies because he said he couldn't get any roles. Just the phone wasn't ringing. They weren't looking for a young Asian boy for any roles back then. So he just kind of said, you know what, I'm going to go to school.
Fred Savage on him.
Yeah. We decided to go to school and learn filmmaking, and he worked behind the scenes for years. And then he said that whenever Crazy Rich Asians came out, it kind of re-inspired him to get back into acting and do it. And this was his first film. And it was just a cool film, the idea of like a multiverse type thing where they're doing kung fu and all this stuff. It just, something different, a little bit of Matrix, a little bit of like Marvel type stuff. Something different. That's what I liked about it.
Done better.
Yeah, like it was a good movie. Like it was entertaining.
Yep.
Like me and Dave watched it. We heard things about it. Then we watched it one night, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, Jamie Lee Curtis."
Yep. A lot of cool cameos and some great fight scenes.
So I never even heard of this. So like, it's
bonkers.
Did you say that the dude from Temple of Doom and Goonies is in it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You remember the little Asian kid, Short Round in Temple of Doom?
Yeah. Like, but it's 2 different people though, right?
No.
No.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't remember. It's been forever since I did with him. Okay, that's pretty fucking cool though. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm not,
So
Kung Fu
yeah,
guy.
and it was cool to see him come back, and just a good, cool film. I think that's why number 3.
And it was so weird because like the first hour was just like full of just packed shit.
Yeah,
Like, it was just off the wall, and the next thing you know, they're in a desert and the rocks.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot going on in that movie.
yeah, and the effects are just incredible because it's like they're doing so much in there to where you're like, holy shit, is this like really happening right now? Just the way they're doing the effects and everything like that, and just well done.
Like, I almost watched that again today, but then I turned it on and watched about 10 minutes, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. So, then I turned back on Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We may have to do a show about that fucking show.
Because I did the same thing because that was almost my number 3 too. That was the first movie that came to mind. But then I was like, man, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not in the right frame of mind.
I believe they said that the script was originally written for Jackie Chan. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they ended up going with Michelle Yeoh, and she fucking schooled it, man.
Yeah,
Like,
she killed that shit.
so good.
Yeah, that was a really good movie. I'm going to have to go watch it again.
Huh.
Chuck's looking something up.
I was curious of what other movies he'd been in. He was in Encino Man also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was
I don't
he in
really
Encino
know.
Man?
I don't know. Clue.
remember
Just said
thinking
Encino
some
Man.
small
Don't worry,
role,
Chuck.
I
We'll have a Pauly Shore night one night for you.
I'll be sick that
buddy.
night.
It's coming.
think. He's like, my phone definitely isn't charged that night.
When it comes to Pauly Shore, I'm not coming at all.
We'll have a Pauly Shore Nick Cage night.
I'm gonna be right here, not on the air.
Fell asleep, guys. My bad.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be like doing what JB does. I'm just gonna pop up occasionally on the comments like fuck you. This kind of guy I am.
And is there anything else you want to say about Studio 666?
No, I think we pretty much covered that one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that me and Chad had that. 'Cause I didn't think anybody else was gonna put that on their top 3. That makes me happier than a pig in shit. All right.
Yeah, I got to see it. I got to catch up with you guys.
You really do. I'm really shocked you haven't seen it.
That's what I said.
just-
He just told me the other day he just watched what for the first time? Oh, Shawshank Redemption.
What?
No, I still haven't seen it.
What? Where's my
I
fucking-
still haven't
Where's
seen
that
it.
sword at? Let me chop this
Well,
fool
I
up
still
on
haven't
air.
seen it.
I swear to God, he's seen these films. It's
I
just
know.
like his
was
brain
like
has
you just said he-
deteriorated or something over the years.
Let everybody know what movies you watched this year that are fucking classics that you should have seen 25 years ago.
Did you use fucking
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack was
kidding me?
one. There was a couple. That's the only one I could think of.
You just saw that this year.
This
He just
fucking
saw
guy.
Caddyshack
Allegedly.
1
Jaws?
and 2.
There's no way. There's no
Oh,
way.
I've seen Jaws.
You've had to seen Caddyshack just in the background at one of our houses or
Had to
something.
be.
Maybe parts of it.
We could have a long talk, Dave. I don't.
There was more
Caddyshack.
too.
Have you seen that
Hey.
one film, Star Wars, yet?
Dude, whenever he told me he didn't see fucking Shawshank whenever we were coming over here a few weeks ago, like I stopped in the middle of my
He did. He
street
stopped the fucking car.
and I just looked at him like I was gonna smack him. I was like, "What the
fucking
fuck?
guy.
What?" I guess that's probably one of my top 5 maybe ever movies.
Caddyshack's one of those for me.
Right? Fucking guy. Well, what do you
This
got for number
fucking
2, guy?
Well, what do I got for number 2? Well, again, I'm going with what I had fun with, and I'm a bit older now, so I know I don't enjoy doing it, but I can admit when I'm wrong. And I was dead wrong about this movie. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was going to bomb, and it got delayed, I think, at least 5 times since 2020. Top Gun Maverick. I just saw it for the first time the other day, and I actually liked it.
Artie was really good.
He
Yeah,
told me he
it
was
was.
watching it. And I said, "Did you see the first one?"
I did. I did, actually. But it's been a long, long time, and I could still keep up with the sequel, having not seen the
Yeah.
original for
That's what was good about it too.
like 30 years or however long it's been, which I didn't like. I mean, I didn't not like it, but I didn't have like Top Gun posters and shit when I was a kid. Like, I didn't
It
own
was-
the movie.
Yeah, it was never my thing. My dad was a big airplane guy. Like, he had an airplane when I was a kid and shit. So, like, airplane movies were always on. Like, literally Airplane and fucking Top Gun and shit.
I got mad respect for Tom Cruise, though, because he's like the ultimate adrenaline junkie. He's like 78
nuts.
and he just now looks 40. I don't know how really old he is.
He's 78?
I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, he just now looks like he's pushing 40.
Them Scientology fucking, like, rituals are really working for him.
In his 60s, I would think, maybe late 50s, early 60s.
Probably.
I don't know.
I got respect for him in the acting and the doing his own stunts. Other than that, fuck him.
Right. Like he said he's supposed to be doing this new stunt for the new Mission Impossible. It's probably like the hardest stunt ever.
He said he wants to shoot a movie in space.
And plus he flies his own planes. Like he's a pilot. Like he does all of his own flying in those movies.
Just take all the Scientologists. In that one
scene or that fighter jet that he had, like that was his plane. Like that's out of his own fucking hangar.
He's 61.
60? Still though, like
that's you gotta give the devil his due.
He's 20 years older than us and he looks younger than we do.
For sure.
Those fucking rituals, man, I'm telling you. It's rituals.
I think he's a vampire for real.
That was another thing,
man. I'm telling you.
That was another thing that was cool about the film was that they did most of it in real fighter jets. You know, there was he wanted limited CGI, limited special effects. He had these guys going up in these military aircrafts, like 90 minutes at a time every day, and like they were saying that a lot of these guys that were on the cast were getting sick and nauseous just from going at these top speeds in these vehicles and everything like that. But I mean, you can tell when you see the finished product that it's like legit shit. There's real fighter pilots that are schooling the fuck out of everything, and it's such a good film, I think.
Everybody's getting sick and dizzy, and Tom Cruise is jerking off. Yeah. Oh, let's do it again. It got so fucked up.
Nah, you won't get sick. You won't get like motion sickness or anything like that from watching it. I don't think.
No, I didn't. I kind of wish I would have went to the movie. There's a couple movies I regret not going to the theaters to see, and after watching it, this is definitely one of like Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, and Top Gun. I kind of wish I would have went to the movies to see.
I would say Top Gun. Like if you're into that kind of shit, I'd say yeah, like in the theaters, because that's just one of those movies where you have, the fighter shit going on, and you got like the speakers everywhere, and like the full experience. Like I can understand that.
Plus, they had like a few like memorable scenes from the first one. Like I mean, they used like the original song, and then Goose's son's playing "Great Balls of Fire" on the piano, and he looks just like the fucking guy.
Mm-hmm. A lot of nostalgia moments, a lot of little Easter eggs. That's another good thing where if you just went and watched Top Gun Maverick as a standalone film, you'd be fine. They pasted a little bit of information in there to where you understand what's going on. You're like, oh, well, this was his buddy's son from back in the day, and all this stuff. So you don't have to go see the first film to enjoy this one.
Right. So, and they do have maybe 2 different flashback sequences. That's
very little flashback.
Yeah.
And fucking Val Kilmer, man, it was so good and
it
so
was
fucking
that shit gave me goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Because that part. All right, so Val Kilmer's in it, and obviously that he has health conditions in real life, and he's dying in real life. So when you see him and Tom Cruise interact on the screen, it's like legit real. Like he's pretty much saying goodbye to his friend and all this shit. So it's like it fucking hits hard because it's like a shoot almost.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the scene's only a couple minutes.
I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
I do too. Yeah. It's so weird. Look at that shit. The scene's it's probably not even a 5-minute scene.
No, it touches.
Uh-oh.
I had no idea that he had any health issues until that last Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Fresh.
And they came. Can you see me all right? Everything cool?
Yep.
I think they were worried about their end.
Oh, okay. But I didn't know he had any health problems. And then I watched the thing before that new Jay and Silent Bob movie came out. The new one, the last one came out. And they were talking about it. And I was like, what the fuck happened to him? Like, I had no idea. And then I saw that he was in the movie and, no words and shit. I'm like, shit. And then there's that documentary that came out that I haven't seen, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. And, even the
he's
trailer
doing better than he used to do before. Like, he doesn't have the trach ring anymore and shit, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, was it lung cancer that got him?
I forget exactly what it was.
Throat cancer?
Something like that.
But what I really liked about Top Gun is that it didn't piss on the legacy characters. You know, Tom Cruise wasn't like getting schooled or made fun of by the new cast, which is what movies tend to do lately, Marvel. They just piss on their own characters, and I don't understand it. And Top Gun didn't do this.
That's because it's a military movie too. Like in military movies, they don't rank. Like you got to respect what they've done.
But still, they didn't make him look like a chump.
No, that's because they knew they couldn't. Especially once they kind of like gave it that feeling in the beginning until he fucking schooled him whenever they were out flying, and he just fucking zips up between them sideways, and he's like, "Hey, fuckers, let's play."
Yeah, and I really like that because so many movies have done that lately.
There was another thing. Do you remember in the beginning whenever Ed Harris comes to the thing to try to catch him, and then
I forgot he was even fucking in it.
He flies past him right when he gets to the base. That was like a legit like fighter plane that flew by at that speed, and you see over to the left hand side there's like a little shack or whatever, like a guard shack, and you see the roof, like it rattles and then it jumps off almost completely. And that was like 100% real. That wasn't any special effects. It was the actual, the plane and the momentum and everything like that, making that happen. So that was pretty cool.
Terrified of heights, terrified of planes. So, yeah, terrifying. No,
I've only ever flown once.
I used to fly with Tom when I was little.
It was
when
boring.
I got older. Terrifying. 9/11 fucked that up for me really bad.
But that's it. That's my number 2.
My number 2 is going to go Bullet Train.
Hey, guess what?
I know you haven't seen that either.
I haven't seen it yet either. I want to. But
I
haven't
have.
seen it either.
Me and Chad were talking about this a few weeks ago.
It's such a fucking good, like, it gives you, like, who directed it? David Leitch, I think is his name. But, like, it has that old school, like, Guy Ritchie, Tarantino type feel to it. Where they kind of they like jump character to character. They even go so far in depth where they fucking follow the storyline of a fucking Fiji water bottle. Like,
all right.
It's just from like the start to finish. It's just nothing but pretty much action. And then like the slow, like the minor, like the little parts that aren't really like action, like they're just kind of quirky and goofy and funny. Yeah. So like the whole movie just through and through keeps you entertained.
Yeah, and how all the different stories were kind of entangled into one big overall story. And
I didn't even know it.
Yeah, and nothing's it's not too contrived. It's a little bit far-fetched here and there, but overall it's like you said, it's a real fun movie, more than anything I thought when I saw it.
And there's so many fucking people in that movie.
Oh yeah. Great cast.
And then Brad Pitt's character towards the end, whenever they wreck the train and he's fucking floating up through all the cars, that whole fucking sequence is just fucking hilarious. Yeah. Because then he flies into that big fucking pink bunny thing.
I have to see this movie.
And Michael Shannon's in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
That guy's awesome.
He's like a Japanese warrior or some shit.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right.
You gotta. I mean, it's hard to explain.
Spoil anything. But you'll watch it, and it won't be one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, I want to watch it all the time. But you'll watch it, you'll be like, oh, that was solid. Worth watching once. For sure.
I was entertained the whole way through. Like I remember watching it that one night, and I was just like, nothing really like pulled me in like that. Very few this year.
Huh.
Yeah,
like it definitely gets your attention.
I can dig that.
All right. So who next? Me?
All right.
Yeah, Mike.
Okay. So for my number 2, I went with more of a performance-based pick this time. The film itself was solid. I like it. But the performance is what really stood out to me. And with the year of 2022, there's a lot of good actresses out there that have been doing well. If you go back and look at the Oscars, Jessica Chastain won the Oscar for Best Actress. She's like one of the hardest working women in Hollywood. I've gone to the Toronto Film Festival many years, and I've seen her up there several years. And every time I see her, she's like the nicest person. Like if you legitimately ask me who the two nicest people in Hollywood are, I would say Jessica Chastain and The Rock, because every time I see them, they're just like the nicest people. They're down to earth. They're humble. They treat their fans with respect. So I got to give her props. But the year of 2022, in my opinion, goes to Mia Goth, who fucking rocked the shit in X, and also my number 2 pick, Pearl. Now, X, a lot of people like X a lot better than Pearl. I liked Pearl more so because she really got to shine in this movie. She had the stage pretty much all to herself, as opposed to where over in X she had to deal with like Brittany Snow, Jenna Ortega, some heavy hitters. But over here in Pearl, she really had the stage and she was able to shine. And her performance in both films is just amazing. Like, if you haven't seen those films, even if you're not a horror fan, you should go watch them, because she's an amazing actress. She does double duty in X as different characters. I'm not going to spoil anything there, but in the Pearl film is the prequel to the X film. So yeah, it was such a good film. And oh man, every time I see her, she gives me Shelley Duvall vibes. Like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. If they did a Shining remake with
I could see that.
Which I don't. Shining is one of my favorite horror films of all time, probably my number 1. But if they had to do some kind of remake, she would have to be the Shelley Duvall character, because it's crazy how much she looks like her to me.
She's like better looking, but I could see that.
Yeah,
I can totally see what you mean by that. No, I think Pearl was an excellent fucking film. And you know what? Since we're talking, I'm just going to say it. Number 2 for me is X. So this actually works in with this shit.
Okay.
I think, well, one, seeing X, I was completely surprised on what it was. It was good to see a little bit of spice brought back into the whole plot of making this adult film and all this shit, like out in the middle of this cabin with this crazy couple and this woman that just keeps walking around being fucking horny as hell, and she's fucking like 80. There's good gore, there's a good story, and then going back to Pearl, I mean, they really knocked it out of the park. And again, Mia Goth, she's great, but I mean the A24, this just, to me, they're killing it with all sorts of movies. But yeah, like I said, X is my number 2, and the only reason why Pearl isn't my number 2 is because like X is where, for me, is like that's one that I can watch all the time. But Pearl's great, and I love that movie a lot too. I love the fact that I wasn't the only one that sees that, because I love the fact that there was humor in X a little bit, but it was still very dark, very sinister, very like there's something more fucked up here. And then when I found out they were making Pearl, I was like, yes, I'm really weird about prequels. This is one where I think this worked out. This was perfect. This wasn't some bullshit fucking backstory. This is that old woman. This is like why she is the way she is. Explain I got chills. Like, I love those fucking movies a lot. Like, actually being able to find out, like, okay, this is why she is the way she is. She was struggling with her own mentality, her own sexuality, like everything. And it's a coming of age movie.
And another thing that really stood out to me was that they were able to touch on the pandemic without it being in your face, because it's taken place back in 1919, back when the Spanish flu was going on, kind of like everything was very similar to today. So you're like watching it and everything kind of feels familiar, but it's legit from like 100 years ago, how people were acting and everything like that. And it almost gives you a sense of, back then, there wasn't no internet or TV or anything to entertain yourself. So if you're stuck on a farm and you're really secluded from people, and your mind can start to kind of warp and change who you are. So it's like she has these dreams of becoming something bigger and getting away and having this freedom, and she just feels trapped. And I think the whole idea of the pandemic back then and everything made her feel even more trapped and just separated from society in general. and her descent into madness almost is so good. She nails it, especially that third act. Whenever she's doing her monologue and everything like that, I'm just like, holy shit, this is so good. Such good acting, a good story. I didn't feel like anything was too silly or anything like that in either film, really. It has that vibe. You can watch, like with X, it has that vibe of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre a little bit, little things here and there. Whenever I was watching Pearl, it felt like whatever happened to Baby Jane, something along those lines. I got that vibe watching that. So and those are some of my favorite films as well. And so it just kind of adds to the flavor for me. Have you guys, Chad and Dave, either one?
I haven't seen Bro yet.
No.
Oh man,
Have you seen X though?
No.
Yeah, I have.
I haven't seen X.
Man, I told
And he
anybody,
works at a video store.
Dave, do you watch film?
But you work in a video store.
like me and my buddy Chris.
Shitty video store.
Me and my buddy Chris were talking about this, and we like after he was talking to it, he's like, man, I saw Pearl. You've got to see this fucking movie because he didn't see X yet, and he lives about 14 hours away from me, or well, he lives a while. Like I live in Kentucky, he lives in Illinois, and like he was like, man, Pearl's out, but I haven't seen X yet, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna load up on some booze, whatever. And we did a whole virtual watch. And I was like, I want to see your reaction to this movie. So we watched X, me for like the third or fourth time, him the first time. And he's like, dude, I'm even more pumped to see Pearl now. I was like, yeah, totally. Like, And then when I finally got to watch it, I was pleasantly surprised. I was afraid, okay, it's number 2. Please don't fuck it up. And I think knocked it out of the park. And I cannot wait for Maxine to come out, the third installment. Like, I'm a fucking trilogy whore. Okay, you're telling me, okay, I like both these movies, and you're gonna put out a third one? Hard. And especially the way I think the third one's gonna go, I am gonna probably be hard.
And I think what really helped was the fact that they filmed both these films back to back. Pearl wasn't even really planned at all. It was something they went to New Zealand because it was during the pandemic and you couldn't really film anywhere. So they went over there to film X. And while they were there, they started working on the screenplay for Pearl. And before X even got approved by the studio, they shot over a copy of the script for Pearl, and they greenlit that as well. So they just ended up filming them literally back to back. He said, I think they wrapped filming on X, and then 3 weeks later they started filming on Pearl, and just did them back to back. And I think that's what helped as well, because it's like we were talking about with Halloween Ends. If you take too much time between filming sequels and trilogies and everything like that, then you second guess yourself. You listen to what people say, reviews, shit like that, and you're like, maybe we'll go in a different direction. Here, when you film back to back and you kind of already know where you want to go with the story and how you want to do it, it comes out a lot better because you don't have to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah.
So
and the fact that it also shows, I mean, Mia Goth again. I mean, one, I love her name, Mia Goth. Like you said, she plays one of the actresses in X as well as Old Pearl, which you don't even realize that. Like you really don't pick up on that when you're watching it. And then when later on you're like, oh shit, that was her too. Like, dude, she's an awesome actress. I mean, she completely she's bad as fuck. And also with Pearl, I like you said, they didn't really jam the whole fucking, here's a virus thing down your throat too bad. But it fit perfectly. And I'm really weird about period pieces and stuff, but I also really like that time period in movies. The radio shit, and all that, the movies, the original films where everybody's talking like this and everybody's they sped up, and all that kind of shit. Dude, if you can't tell, I fucking love those movies. That makes me so fucking happy that you picked Pearl. That's awesome.
So definitely props go out to Mia Goth. Fucking amazing year for her, and I hope just bigger and better things to see.
Oh, fuck yeah. She's on the uprise.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you already know my number 2 was X. We just talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Next. Well, it doesn't happen that often, but every now and then the right movie comes along at the right time.
Yeah, it does.
What?
Is there a clip coming here? Oh, wait.
Our Lord and Savior art.
Number one.
It came off right after Halloween ends, I believe, right?
Yeah, it saved us.
Yes, it
Yep.
saved us.
It saved
Our sanity.
Halloween.
Because I had just watched the first one like probably a couple weeks before the second one came out. And like, actually, I take it back. There's 4 movies I kind of wish I went to the theater to go see. I would kind of wish I would have caught Terrifier 2 in theaters too. I'll definitely go see the third one.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But man, like another one that was just so much fun. Though it was just,
You know, it's weird because I mean, in case you all haven't picked up on it, I do love that movie. I do love those movies. But it was weird because when I saw All Hallows Eve, where art was first introduced a long time ago, and I was like, all right, this is all right, whatever. And then Terrifier came out, and the first time I watched it, I was like, do I like this? I can't tell if I like this or not. And I watched it a couple more times. I'm like, all right, it's okay, whatever. And then Terrifier 2 came out, and I was like, I have to see this movie. Like, I was like, well, they're putting it in theaters and everything, and everybody saw how gross it is, and I got to see it. And when I finally got to fucking watch it, I was like, this is the one this is saving slashers. This is the return of the slasher. This is our new Jason. This is our new Freddy. This is, this is some serious shit in the horror world. I mean, the heinous shit that goes on in the first one doesn't even compare to what happens in the second one. I got to mention one of the most brutal death scenes in that movie is that poor girl who, God, rips her fucking head, like he fucking, he scalps her, he rips off her fucking back, like, covers her back in fucking salt. I mean, like, he is just brutal. Or like, it's just by the end of it, she's just like a lot of people can't figure out why people like us, or like me, because I'm kind of a sick fuck, watch movies like this and love these movies so much. It's a release. And I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it over and over again. I like all sorts of horror films. I like the scary, I like the creepy, I like the ones that don't even have death in them. And I really love the fucking gory ones. And because the reason I like the gory ones, watching these movies, especially movies like this, it's almost like, to me, it's just like watching porn. It's a fucking release in some way. It's like I watch those movies if I'm in a really bad mood. And I'm just, I grin the whole time. I'm smiling and laughing. I'm having a blast because Arden's also a funny fucking character. And, the whole scene with him in the store when the girls.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because, like,
He's
not only is he
fucking with her.
Yeah, like, he's fucking with her, but like the other part that was really funny about it is like when he puts the horn up on the counter to pay for it or whatever, and the guy's like, "You gonna pay for this?" And he has this big bag full of like things to kill people with, and he just like puts it down and he just starts pulling out like all these different weapons, and then finally pulls out a little bit of money.
I like first though, before he starts pulling it out, he's like patting himself down, then he's like,
"Where's my wallet?"
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
It's not just, and the other thing about Terrifier, the people that haven't seen All Hallows Eve, that's why another reason why I don't think we need a prequel to it is because go watch All Hallows Eve and figure it out, because he's not just a killer clown. He's in league with Satan. He's a demon. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where they're going to take the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait. And that's another thing is the fact that this movie, like, because from the first one to the second one, there is a ongoing story with a woman that he fucking mutilated, and I can't wait to see what happens with that in the third one, because I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, like, there's a whole lot, there's a whole thing that's a little, there's some powers, we'll say. There's a whole good and evil whole battle there in the second one, and they made it bloody, gory, and we've seen that before, but the way they did it was beautiful. but they also added a little extra to it, and that's what I like was that little extra salt, if you will.
Mhm.
No pun intended, actually, but yeah, fucking. Yeah.
I love this movie too, just because it hit everything for me. Like I have a weird obsession with fucking evil clowns, so it definitely had that in there for me. And then it also it just took me back to like the old '80s type horror movies. Like the plot was kind of silly, but all the fucking kills were just amazing. The goofy shit in the storyline didn't fucking matter. Like, because I mean, she's pretty much like a Valkyrie type looking fucking chick warrior or whatever.
Yeah.
With a sword made of Valerian steel because it won't fucking get destroyed in a fire.
She was badass.
Yeah, she was fucking dope in that whole movie. Like, she was definitely like, you don't see many movies at all, let alone like horror movies anymore, where like the heroine type chick is a female. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't.
This year was a little different though, because this year they had a couple that came out with like strong female characters.
Yeah, the last couple of years, there's been quite a few women strong.
Well, back in the '80s, it hardly ever. I mean,
yeah.
Aside from
go on.
Aside from like Friday the 13th and like the original Nightmare, like everything else was all just.
Yeah, it's been a while since I believed it because I'm sorry, I'm picking on Prey tonight, but that girl versus a predator, like, are you fucking kidding me? No, didn't believe it. The chick in Terrifier, I believed. This motherfucker killed my mother. He killed my best friends. He's going to kill my little brother if I don't stop him.
Who? Our little brother is played by Elliot Fullman, who I knew, Fullman or whatever. I knew him before this movie because he actually has been doing a YouTube channel for years now. He's got some punk rock, heavy metal like folks, right? And he interviews different bands. He's been doing this shit since he was like 8, 9 years old, something like that. Like, I mean, or maybe even younger. Like, he's interviewed everybody from fucking Phil from Pantera and guys from Overkill, and just, I mean, there's a whole bunch of just like he's been around it. And it was cool to see him in this. Which I knew he was going to be in it because he kept kind of like hawking it on his channel and stuff. I was like, what the fuck? I want to see how this kid's acting is. And as far as I know, it's his first role, and he doesn't do a bad job in it. I think it's and then the YouTube channel is called Little Punk People, which I don't know how he's gonna keep doing it as Little Punk People as he's getting older. But yeah, if you haven't watched that, it's pretty interesting little YouTube channel as well. But I think he did a good job. I think the whole storyline with him was awesome too. And also, can't forget old Felissa Rose also was in this movie from the sleepaway camp days.
Yeah. Whenever I was on my big clown horror kick there for a while, that's whenever I came across Terrifier. It was probably like during the pandemic shit. Whenever I was off work and everything, I was just watching pretty much anything that had to do with clowns horror wise. And majority of these movies suck, but then that one was just like that was fucking done right. Like, it was definitely
a little different.
It's definitely like the strongest, I would say, clown type killer movie since. I mean, I guess there's the new It, but other than that, like maybe the old It and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, and that's the other thing though. It's like, okay, finally, we have a killer clown that isn't Pennywise, that doesn't reflect anything like these other ones. He's an old school. People are like, oh, he's a mom. Well, that's kind of. He's still a clown. That was still a thing back a long ass fucking time ago. Like, like, I love it because as much as I like Pennywise and all that, like, it's just kind of nice to have. All right, I don't have to be annoyed by this guy. He's pretty killer.
He's definitely one of a kind. He's just in it to kill people and play with their intestines and shit. Like,
I mean,
and especially. Whenever, it's been 6 years since the first film where you just kind of felt like it would never come back, and they were able to do it and do it well, especially.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, lost Mike.
Ruh-roh. He's in the red zone.
I feel like he used to make a really good point too.
He usually does.
Yeah. Well, what's happening?
His signal dropped.
If you look how it's frozen, He looked like he was having a good time.
There we go.
I don't know what happened there.
All right.
But yeah, what I was saying was with the gore and everything like that on that kind of level, there's shitty horror films that come out and they do overdo the gore and everything like that, but you don't really have it on this kind of level where it's actually in theaters and people are able to see it, anymore. So, it's a good shot,
especially an indie film.
Yeah.
Like usually you
That blew
see
my
indie
mind.
films at like Sundance and shit. You don't really see them in theaters too often.
No, the fact that it came to Mount Sterling, this little town here that I live in, man, they actually, it was the last minute that they brought it into the theater. And actually Whitman, who I do Graveyard Talk with, he was the first person to see Terrifier 2. And when he walked up, he told me about it. He was like, yeah, I was like, I need a ticket for Terrifier 2. Like, oh, you're going to see that movie? They're like, no one's bought a ticket yet. Like, they had just put out, it was coming out that day, and he was there, you know what I mean? And they were all acting all weird, we can't watch this movie, or da-da-da-da. Everybody was just acting like it was so taboo to go see it. And I wanted to see it in theaters too, but unfortunately I don't get that luxury all the time. So, but yeah, it was great. The fact that it was in theaters, man, fucking hey, let's let the blood flow. Let the intestines just be ripped right from people, wrapped around society, and brought right to our faces in theaters.
He started a whole different horror verse with this franchise.
Oh, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Me too.
Bring it to us.
Because 2022 was definitely a great year for horror movies, and that was really, really cool to see.
Well,
half and half.
One movie really chopped it at the knees.
Yeah, but I mean, there really was a lot. I mean, there were a lot of movies. Well, yeah, but there really was a lot of movies that actually did come out horror related this year that weren't bad, but which, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. But it really was a good year for horror movies. I mean, it really was, and there was some stinkers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there always are.
Even the stinkers made money.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why.
Just that first weekend.
Oh, the first weekend. Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, I'm curious, and then you see it like shit.
Yeah,
because we all agree that Halloween Ends was a big old crapper, and we all agree on that over and over again. That was the
Terrifier 2 is me and Dave's number one. What do you?
That's my number one as well.
Your number one as well. See, I called that.
Yeah, duh.
And now you're on top with us.
Well, I knew all you guys were going to pick Terrifier as your number one. So I was like, I'm going to do something different. And boom! My number one is Halloween Ends, the fucking best film of 2022. Holy shit. No. Actually, my number one was fucking Top Gun. Dave fucking stole my thunder.
Oh, shit.
No, it's cool. Yeah. Like we were talking about before, it was one of those ones where it had the nostalgia flavor. It had, a good story where it was like, with the sequels, there's so many stories that are just pure shit. And it's just, something that they threw together to try to do another film to make more money. This time, it all made sense. It all looked good. Everything was great about it, and that you could look at all the reviews. You can see the money it made over the year. It was probably one of the top films, if not the top film of 2022. So, that was my number one. A lot of honorable mentions I have, so I don't know if we want to get into that right now or whatever.
Sure.
So the awards for the best film of the year go to Terrifier 2 and Top Gun Maverick.
They get the golden videotape.
They get the golden tape.
Excellent.
You heard it here on videos.
One of my honorable mentions was going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
Another one that kind of surprised me was Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea where the story was going to go, so I was into it the whole time.
I had no idea what it was about when I watched it.
Yeah, me neither.
Me either.
Even the trailers kind of misled you a little bit, but not too much, not to the point where it was false advertising like Halloween Ends.
It didn't give away that. See, that's what I liked about it, was the fact you don't really know what's going on. Because Rob's always made a good point years ago. He's like, trailers pretty much give you the whole fucking movie. Like if you go back in the '90s and watch some of these trailers, they give you the whole fucking movie. Right? Like it takes out a bunch of shit, but it gives you the whole fucking rundown. It's nice to have a little bit of mystery. Yeah, Barbarian was, I think, it was a pretty good fucking movie. Honestly, there were some issues with it, but yeah, I liked it. It creeped me the fuck out.
Well, you guys, what else you got?
Another one. I know Chuck isn't a fan of Blumhouse, but fucking Black Phone.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I think it deserves honorable mention. It wasn't a bad flick. Ethan Hawke was a creepy fuck. It was solid for the most part.
End quote.
It was solid like a turd, in my opinion. But I will say, honorable mention. Yeah, my biggest issue with that movie is I think it was a mess. I think the last fucking 20 minutes of that movie was a goddamn mess. I think the story was good. It touched base on some things, but there was a lot that wasn't answered. There, you didn't know like how he did this or where the fucking brother came from or all this other shit. Like I didn't believe a lot of the characters. Yeah, Ethan Hawke did a good job, but I just thought it was kind of boring. And I thought everybody was just blowing it the fuck up. And I was like, why? I saw this movie hoping for more. And I was like, all right, Black Phone, supposed to be good. And I'm like, that was shit. Like I was like, it killed me. It fucking killed me because I really wanted to like it. I don't know. Maybe they'll come out with a sequel and maybe we'll explain more or whatever. But but I'm also a picky bastard when it comes down to endings of movies. And that one just did not. I thought that it ended fucking horribly. And I just didn't, whatever. Sorry, I'm not going to shit on everything.
I dropped the ball on that one this year. I never saw that one yet.
That's a fair assessment, but I'm the same way how Chuck is with this, and he's probably in the minority. I'm in the minority when it comes to this film. The Batman, fucking hated it.
I haven't yet to see it.
I didn't.
Haven't seen it
either. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, like it was one of the movies where like I didn't mind it, but I can't say I liked it. Like it's just one of the movies where I watched it and I was like, all right, now what are they gonna do?
Well,
I've been wanting to watch it, but like
I've so fucking annoyed because everyone talked like this in the movie, and I kept having to turn it up. And he was only, and I can't believe it. I never thought I would say like he's Batman too much. I want to see more Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I think he was only Bruce Wayne for like maybe 10 minutes of the whole.
But it's
movie.
called the Batman, so it needs to have more.
And it reminded me
more
of
cowbell
the whole time. Like there was even shots from Seven in the Batman.
Right.
And that's all that now it just kept fucking with me. That's all I kept thinking about.
But it just too much dumb shit in that. Like so many plot holes, so many things didn't make sense.
And
like the Riddler looking the way he does.
I'm not a fan of Robert Pattinson by any means, but I go into these films with an open mind, like, okay, maybe he'll surprise me. I'll give him a clean slate. Show me something. Show me what you got. And he just didn't do anything for me. I don't think he did a bad job. I feel like the script and the writing was probably the biggest
That's what
issue.
did him in. That's what did him in. I don't think he got a chance to.
Right.
Unfortunately, his career started out in Twilight, so you're gonna have. I mean, it's just kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like he was in Romeo and Juliet, he was in Titanic, and then boom, he was in the fucking Departed and all this other shit. And then you went back and watched some of the other movies, him in Basketball Diaries and all that shit, and you're like, oh, he's actually not that bad of an actor. And then he's like one of the best actors we have. I think Robert Pattinson. I think he gets Pattinson, whatever the fuck his name is. I think it's a bad rap. I think he's a pretty good actor, especially after watching The Lighthouse. Completely watching The Lighthouse. But like I've been kind of weird about watching the Batman. So like I've heard a lot of people say similar, but like, oh, it's still a good movie, blah, blah. I've heard it's a little longer than it needs to be.
Yeah,
it's a lot
like
longer.
3 hours long or some shit.
Yeah,
it could have been 1:40 and been good.
Yeah, that was just too much.
I'm not saying it would have been good, but I'm just saying that would have been good on a runtime.
Yeah, 3 hours in a fucking theater. Yeah, I'm gonna be bored.
The fucking writing is so fucking bad. Oh my god, to me, it's up there with Halloween Ends, where, fuck me, this goddamn writing just drove me bananas. I'm sitting there the whole time, and like, then of course, I get online, I see all these reviews. Oh, I loved it. It's the best Batman ever. I'm like, oh, what the fuck has happened to the world? You know, I'll give props to Paul Dano and Colin Farrell though. They fucking were very good, I thought, as the Riddler and the Penguin, especially Colin Farrell. Like you can't even tell, you know, especially whenever an actor immerses himself in a character like that, where you don't realize it's really them. You know, you don't look at him and say, "Oh, that's Colin Farrell." You look at him like, "Holy shit," you know. And he kind of reinvents himself. You know, Christian Bale is the same way, where he changes his appearance and everything like that. You know,
I hate Christian Bale.
Tom Hanks, yeah. Come on, Christian Bale. How can you hate Christian Bale?
I can't. I'm not wearing hockey pants. And when he was fucking Bruce Wayne, he was just American Psycho. He was Patrick Bateman. Like I don't know. The best thing about any of those movies was Heath Ledger. Like I'm that guy. That is a whole other episode. But moving on to other honorable mentions. Torn Hearts. Have you all seen this yet?
No.
It's got Katie Seagal in it, and it came on not too long ago, and it's about an old school country singer who these two girls who they have like a duo like country thing. They're like real big fans of this woman, and apparently like she was in a duo with her sister died, all this shit, and they go try to get her to record a song with them, and she puts them through all kinds of hell to prove their worth, and it's a pretty entertaining film. I think it's not a great movie, but I think it's a really good one. And like it's one of those you're watching it going, what's going to happen next? Like I love Katie Seagal though. I mean, I love her.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
You know, so yeah, and also my other honorable mention, which I have not even seen yet, but I already know it's fucking amazing. It's not horror whatsoever, and it's on A24, and it's The Well, which I've heard nothing but great things about. It's the Brendan Fraser movie that's brought him back in the spotlight as he needed to be, and it's a really like. Even watching the trailer has
I don't know if I'm going to see that one. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I'm going to see that one.
Box of tissues, and you know, but it looks like I think it definitely deserves an honorable mention. And I think if I would have already seen it, I think it probably would have been on my 3. But I also have my own 3. Like I can't even say that because my whole thing is I go after movies that I've watched multiple times and that like I could still watch over and over again. The Whale. Being what it's supposed to be, and it's such a sad film. That's not a movie I could watch all the time. I don't like crying. I don't want anybody to see me crying. Like, you know, of course, everybody that's watched this show the last couple of holidays has seen me fucking tear up. Boy, have I gotten comments from my friends on that one.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no, and actually, a lot of my friends said that it was especially with the gift that you all gifted me, said that it was one of my buddies. The words he used was, "That's beautiful, man." So you know, but in a situation where it comes to a movie, I don't want to be seen crying. You know, there's only been one girlfriend that I've had that has seen me cry over 10 times at fucking movies, and that's because we were together for almost 7 years. But yeah, but I have that one out there. Yeah.
One movie I feel like I need to mention is just because I'm such a big fan is Clerks 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was it definitely fell in the tearjerker type category. Like it was funny, but man, it definitely threw that curveball every now and then and just got you all worked up.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones you're going in, you're expecting a really good comedy flick, and there wasn't a whole lot of comedy. I mean, it touches on it. It's kind of like dark comedy almost.
Because I went in there like any other Kevin Smith film, like I definitely got in the right mindset, and then went in there, turned it on. Next thing you know, it's got me thinking about all my life's decisions.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
God, one of those movies, I'm screwed.
It is, but I mean, I guess it was the best way to end out the franchise or the trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a solid movie. It just wasn't. People that don't like that movie are probably because that's what they were expecting, like dick and fart jokes. But it definitely threw the curveball and got you just thinking about everything as like a whole in life.
Yeah,
it's a
the
sad
important
flick.
shit.
Yeah,
I'm not. I talking about Clerks 3. It's a sad flick. Like, that's not what I expected.
No,
God,
you'll be surprised when you sit down and finally watch it.
You're gonna be like, "What the fuck just happened?" You don't know if you want to laugh or cry, and it's the same scene going on.
Oh shit!
It's like, what do I do here? I just.
All right, so don't watch around friends. Gotcha. Chuck's crying again. Somebody give him a box of tissues.
We'll live stream that. We'll just have a watch party.
Just a close up of me, just like crying game in the shower.
I just pictured that scene in my head.
Or Ace Ventura.
I pictured Ace Ventura in my head.
Yeah,
that's what I was picturing.
Guns digging into my hip. Oh.
Let's not forget
Christ.
Morbius.
We can all
No,
forget
let's forget Morbius. What are you
I've
talking
heard we need to forget about Morbius. I haven't seen it. I hate Jared Leto, and
God.
I've heard nothing but bad things about it. And I was like, okay, I like Morbius. Please don't fuck this
Me
up.
too.
And then I already
And
heard
they
horrible
fucked
things
it
about
up.
it.
It's one of those movies where like the
got-
writing, the dialogue, the overuse of CG, everything just fucked it up.
It got butchered in the editing bay is what happened.
Let's hope they don't fuck it up when they make the Lobo movie.
No.
You know who Lobo is?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Because I think that was a
Jason
thing that
Momoa.
they're talking about making that one.
We'll
So
see.
I don't know.
So what else do we
We shall
have?
see.
We had the Scream film.
Scream, yeah.
Not too bad. Nothing great.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
It was, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre from this year.
Oh
I like-
God,
I-
that came out too, didn't it?
I liked it. I liked
I
it.
didn't like the end.
I thought, what do you mean you didn't like the end?
I didn't like the end.
Took
I was
that
like,
bitch's head off.
what was the point of bringing her in if he was going to kill her in 5 seconds?
Because, well, are you talking about the? See, my least part about the biggest thing in that movie I didn't like was because they were trying to pull the Jamie Lee Curtis card,
Yes.
the Laurie
Yes.
Strode card with that. Is that what you're talking about? I
Yeah.
hated that. That was so stupid. If they just took that out, I've been fine with it.
With
I
the
can get-
wrong
I can get
actress,
behind-
and she did nothing.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did nothing. What was
Did
the
nothing.
point?
Yeah, that was the worst thing about it. Because I
Took a
like,
really
I can
long
get behind the
time to
idea.
die.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
took a really
I can
long
get
time to
behind the
die.
idea that Leatherface is not just one person. I can get behind that idea. I like the fact that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's da-da-da-da. I'm like, dude, what are you bitching about? He goes onto a fucking bus and kills a whole bunch of woke motherfuckers with their goddamn social media, like, filming. And it was totally right on. Because if shit's going fucking down, nobody's even thinking about getting the fuck out of there. I'm going to film it. I'm going to go live.
That was my
and it
favorite
just
part of the movie.
cuts them all the fuck down, man. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful fucking scene. I was drunk as shit watching with my buddy Chris, and we were both clapping and laughing and just having a blast. I thought it was a good movie, and I will stand by that movie. I think it was better than the one before it, definitely. But whatever. I mean, Leatherface is my boy, so I gotta be critical, but at the same point, I give the devil his due, and I think that movie wasn't as horrible as everybody thought.
Gotta love
Yeah.
Bubba.
Yeah. Saw your family.
I have a bunch of films on my list here because, like I said, it was a tough decision to kind of pick 3 out.
The Unbearable Massive Talent with Nick Cage.
That was on my list of just other films. Like I've seen I've seen more films this year than I have in a long time, which is another good thing. With the pandemic and everything like that, it really felt like cinema in general was just dying a slow death. And this year, a lot of films came out. A lot of people came out to see films, so it's a good thing. That film, that Nick Cage film, it was a fun little film. Nothing.
It was.
It's not one of those ones where you're like, oh, this is fucking amazing. It's just one of those. It's just fun. You
It
just
was a Nick
go for
Cage
the
movie.
ride.
I can do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I did.
Just
go for
goofy
the ride.
shit.
Go for the ride. Another
JB,
one-
I'm sure JB would love to see that movie.
It's kind of like what was the other one I said earlier? The Man from Toronto with Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson. Like that shit was funny.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a great movie, but it was just one of them goofy like True Lies type kind of like action packed humor type movies.
What's it called?
Man from Toronto.
Never heard of it. I might have to check that out.
Woody Harrelson's a hitman, but then somewhere along the line, Kevin Hart gets mistaken for him.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that does look good. I need to see that one. Yeah,
It's funny.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson is a hitman. I'm sold.
Right.
And Kevin Hart, he's kind of funny. He makes me laugh sometimes. I'm kind of getting tired of seeing his face every time that it goes to a
He's
YouTube
everywhere
commercial.
now, man.
Yeah.
He's on all the fucking gambling
I'm Kevin Hart.
commercials. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Another
I thought
one I
Cat
saw-
Williams was annoying.
Another one I saw that I was telling these guys about was The Menu.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was.
Whitman said it was really good too.
I liked it. It was different. It was weird. You weren't really sure what direction they were going while you're watching it, but ended up not being that bad. Definitely worth a watch. I'd say if you got a chance, just watch it once.
So me and Dave were on the way over here, and we were talking about like that movie that we wanted to see but never did. Then I was going through a lot of the movies that came out this year, trying to just go back and remember because I watched so much fucking crazy shit. I don't know when they come out. But anybody see Uma? It's like UMMA. It looked kind of creepy. No, not that Uma. It's like some like horror movie that came out. I forget where it said it was streaming on, but it looked kind of creepy. I remember whenever it came out, like I thought about seeing it, but it was just one of the movies that kind of slid through the cracks because a bunch of other shit came out at the same time. Like a lot of the fucking really good movies came out like August 5th. Like so much shit came out in August, it's ridiculous.
Been a good year for movies.
Nope,
It
we
has
talked about.
Yep. I like Nope.
Oh,
I think that's an honorable mention. Not a great film, but a fun one. And I don't like Jordan Peele. So I mean I like Jordan Peele, I don't like his movies. And that was the first one I actually decided I liked. So
I was gonna say, and whenever you guys did the podcast on Nope, you gave it 5 stars, I believe.
I did.
So-
I gave it 5 stars. Yeah. And that's well, I gave it talking about on the Graveyard Talk.
No, on here.
Or
on our
on here.
show.
On here? Yeah, okay. I was gonna say because I gave it 5 tombstones on Graveyard Talk too.
Right.
Which at least
I can't remember what you said exactly, but you gave it the top rating over here.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Like that's I think it's a interesting take on an old idea, basically.
It really was. It was a good movie.
When you
Yeah.
finally see what the thing is, it just killed it for me. I was like,
I loved it though.
You loved it?
I loved it because it was a different take because I mean, how many times have there's a everybody's seeing like a flying saucer and da da da. Well, it's like, what if the flying saucer is actually the alien? What if
Like, give me a creature. Give me something that I can make into a toy, not like a fucking sheet with a black hole.
I was gonna say once I got past the fact that there was laundry floating in the air, and then it made more sense to me. It was like someone had their clothes on the fucking clothespins outside on the clothesline. They just fucking blew away because it was like tornado weather.
Like they were trying to make it more of like a aquatic creature type weird thing or whatever. But I mean, I want something like I said, you can make into a toy, something you could put on a poster, something scary. Kids are like, holy shit.
Sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Well, I will say because the shit at the end of Nope, it's a bit much. I will say that when it comes up and it's all like growing and all that, it's like, are we at Color Guard? What's happening? When does the band come out? What's happening? Like that part is, but I like the idea of like, this thing fucking has this huge mouth when you actually like see it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying that. I mean, and it's got one of the coolest. I love the scene with the house and it just like it shits all over. It's just blood and just all that. And it's just like, where's Slayer when you need them?
Right. That's all I needed.
And
if you would have heard the drum beat drop, it would have been on.
And the part that I still say that I liked the most was the backstory about the chimpanzee and the Asian kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, because once you realize that it's based on a real story, that makes it even more terrifying. If you go back and watch that Oprah shit, I sent you guys a link for it. If people are watching, you can go on YouTube, look up Oprah and Charla Nash, I think it is. It was a true story where she had her whole face ripped off by a chimpanzee.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw something about that the other day, actually.
Yeah, it was a chimpanzee. He did like commercial. He did like Pepsi commercials and everything like that. And then one day he just like flipped out and broke out of his cage and was running around. The owner was trying to get him back in the house, get him back in his cage, and her friend came over to try to help her. And I think her friend had like a favorite toy, which was like an Elmo doll or something like that. And he saw her friend holding the Elmo doll, which is like his prized possession, and he just lost it. And he attacked her, and chewed off her fingers and her hands and ripped off her face completely. It's so messed up. And yeah, once you realize that that's a real story, you're like, holy shit, man.
I didn't even put those two together. It was there was a thing about it on like a YouTube thing, you know, where it's like it's things you might like or whatever. And I watched a little like interview on there. I didn't even think about Nope when I was watching that. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. All right. That
and it's so fucked up. If you watch the Oprah interview with her, oh my God, Oprah is fucking ruthless, man. She's like, she's asking her, for real. And she got so much heat in the comments. Like, people are just like, what is wrong with you? Because she's sitting there and she's asking this woman, she's like, well, what can you tell us? What do you remember about what happened? She's like, I don't want to remember. You know, this woman's like life is like destroyed. And props to this woman because she had the best attitude ever. Like to go through something like that. And she's just like very positive and uplifting about life and everything like that. But Oprah's just like, oh, what can you tell us? She's like, I don't really want to remember. And she's like, but is there any, you know, little thing that you remember? It's like
poking and prodding.
I just literally told you I don't want to remember. Why are you trying to make me remember something that was so horrible to me? And then later on, she's like, she goes, you know, I can't remember how exactly she says it, but she says, you know, looking at your face after a while, I can get used to it. Like
I remember that she says that to her.
Yeah, you got. I'll send you the link again. You got to see.
Yeah, because I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched clips. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Later on, she's like, yeah. After looking at your face for a while, I can get used to it. But
it's like,
wow, Oprah's a bitch.
Yeah, I don't have.
Yeah. Fuck that woman.
Well, what's the clip of the week? After the honorable mentions.
Are we allowed a clip of the week now?
We'll find out.
We're about to get cut off the air.
If you do, we wrap up the show by playing the random clip of the week, in which we will play a random clip from a random movie and see what happens. Let's see what we got.
Do you know what this means? It means that this damn thing doesn't work at all.
Nice.
Short and sweet to see if it squeaks by.
And it played.
Any longer, it'd be fucked.
Yeah.
That was actually a live clip of Chuck with his cell phone earlier in the day. This damn thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his charger, holding his charger by the cord.
I was about there. I really was. Don't even get me started. Which I'm just checking my charge.
Oh, okay. Well, before we go, we just want to remind everybody that we will be back Friday night. It's Friday, right?
Friday.
Yes, we will be working with Tales from the Podcast for our New Year's Eve special. God help us.
The day before New Year's Eve.
The day before New Year's Eve.
Is it the
New Year's Eve?
30th? Eve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eve.
Yeah.
30th. We will be watching the Garbage Pail Kids movie. I'm not kidding.
It's a great one.
Tomorrow I'll be on Aaron and James's show again for Horror with Mr. Sturdy, talking about 13 Slays Till Xmas and maybe the Nutcracker Massacre. I don't know if they did that one Tuesday or not. I've been torturing myself this week. It's fucking rough.
Oh, dude, no. Me and my buddy Jason, we did a week of watching nothing but horror Christmas movies. Dude, there wasn't enough beer. There wasn't enough whiskey. It's a good thing there was enough weed, because I don't know how the fuck we made it through all that shit.
Honorable mention is Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Oh, yeah. That was on my list too, actually. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
Pretty much anything Shudder put out this year was money.
I would say so, yeah. Well, speaking of Shudder, also The Apology on Shudder.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a serious movie, but have you seen it?
I saw pieces of it. It was on while I was doing shit.
It's really good. It's a good revenge story. I've
been wanting to go back and watch it, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah, have you guys seen that Glass Onion?
No, not yet.
The Knives Out sequel or whatever.
I've got to see it then. I love the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That came out this year. Another one that I had on my list was Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
See, I haven't seen that yet either.
I'll still
Biopic
gotta
on
see
Weird
it.
Al.
It was on Roku.
Yeah, there's
but
nothing in it's
the
real.
only thing I don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to. I really do want to watch the Weird Al one, but after Weird Al was like, he was on an interview and he was like, "Yeah, there's nothing really real about this movie. It's all made up." Him and Madonna they never had hung out. They didn't really like. There's a whole like everything in it's false except for like one little incy bincy piece, which was having to deal with the record label or whatever, and that was the only thing that was true. Everything else is fake. So it's like, okay,
Well, it's
I'll
like
wait.
true Weird Al fashion, where it's like, his music parodies other people, so his
He
film
parodies
parodies
himself.
his life.
Yeah, I heard it was really good though. I heard it was really good, so I'm not
Yeah,
putting it
Daniel
down. Just saying.
Radcliffe
Yeah.
supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, I heard he killed it.
Yeah,
So a lot of good films in 2022. I would say that there was more good films than bad films.
I would agree.
think?
Yeah.
I would agree.
It wasn't a bad year. We'll see how this next one takes
It
us.
seemed like it was the big budget movies that all sucked.
Only thing I'm looking forward to seeing in 2023 is Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
Right now, that's on the top of the list.
Yeah, man.
But that's because I'm an Evil Dead junkie.
I'm really cautious with this Megan movie. I just got a bad feeling that it's going to suck.
I want to see it, but it looks kind of creepy, but it also looks like, I don't know. It could just be really cringy. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
like,
there's
I
gonna
feel
be
like
more-
it's a trick.
After watching the trailer where she kind of does like some kind of break dance and all that, I'm like,
Mhm.
it's to me from watching the trailer alone, it's like somebody took the old TV show Small Wonder and then just made it into a horror flick.
So Electric Boogaloo 3.
Right. So we'll see.
So we'll see. I don't know. But definitely looking forward to Evil Dead Rise. That's another one that's been talked about, God, for years.
It would have been out already if they would have if it wasn't getting a theatrical release. But
Yeah,
So
It
that
got
says
the
something.
push.
Yeah, it's getting
It's
the
time.
push. So
it's time.
we'll see.
Need
We'll
to get that out. Yeah.
We'll see what else 2023 brings us. What else is coming out?
Cocaine Bear.
Oh, Cocaine Bear.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking about that the other night. Looks
Yeah.
great.
The new
Bear Crack?
the Wonka movie with Timothy Chalamet.
oh yeah,
Will he do it justice? Probably not, but he's a solid actor. He's a solid actor. I'm just more worried about the script and how those guys watch it, but we'll see.
But they're Wonka. I didn't know about this. Is it like Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
They're remaking it or remade it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got the Super Mario Brothers movie that everybody fucking hates already. Oh, we got
Jesus Christ.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now that one's they got the Grinch one too.
Yep.
Which is played by what's his name that plays Art.
David.
David Howard Thornton.
Yeah. I'm the Winnie the Pooh one. I'm really excited about. My mom was like, "I think it's just really horrible they're doing that." I was like, "I think it's great."
Is that Crow supposed to come out in 23 or 24? The
Uh,
Skarsgård one. If they go
don't
forward with it,
know.
Not sure.
I'm not really sure about that one either. Yeah.
because there was
I
a
would
few
give a
different
shit.
people tied to that movie for a while. Like they were supposed to do it with
Long time.
Bradley Cooper a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like, "Nah."
Yeah, it was a couple people. It was another big star. I think they got at one point.
The Rock.
Was it?
Wouldn't
I'm
surprise me.
tired of hearing about The Rock. I'm so tired of hearing about The Rock. I'm so tired of hearing about The Rock. Nice guy, maybe. He's a good wrestler, all that shit. I'm so tired of hearing about The Rock.
Well, now
Don't
that you
care. I
mention
don't
that-
care about when he was young. I don't care about how he is now. I don't care about Jumanji 300. I don't give a fuck about The Rock.
Well, that's a good segue.
If you
because on
smell,
for the first of the year, that our double feature segment is going to be The Rock and Pauly Shore. Tune in and see Chuck fucking lose his mind.
explode, and not in a good way.
Game Plan and Encino Man.
We got the Exorcist remake coming up, 2023.
Fuck that. Fuck that shit.
I don't have any high hopes, especially with David Gordon Green and them fucking up Halloween Ends.
Fucking
Yeah.
Blumhouse, fucking bullshit. They're
Well,
gonna fucking ruin it. They're gonna
It's
fucking ruin it.
it's another legacy one, right? Because they got the mother back.
So,
So
we'll see.
I don't know. Scream 6 is next year too, I believe.
Green,
Yeah,
um,
Ghostface Takes Manhattan. That's gonna be interesting.
I saw
Did
that.
you see the
picture
poster?
of him in the subway. And that's exactly what I thought whenever I saw him in the subway. I was
I
like,
I just shook my head and was like, "Oh God!"
yeah,
Like,
here we go.
This last Scream, dude, perfect. Just stop. Just fucking end it.
See,
End
I thought it was
Nope.
boring.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I was
but-
never a huge Scream fan though. Like I liked the first one, but after that, I was kind of like, "Eh."
First one's good. Second one blows. Third one blows. Fourth one's good. Fifth one's good. That's how I look at it. I just don't. Just stop. Just stop. Do we really need, more?
It's kind of like the Final
of
Destination
Ghostface,
movies to me. Like you see the first one, you seen them all.
like Saw and all that shit.
Oh.
Like even though, like, I mean, after a while, you just like Final Destination and Saw. After a while, you're like, I don't even care about the story. I just want to see how they do the killings. And with Scream, it's like, okay, we know everything. We get it. Stop. There's no cool killings. You're just stabbing people. Like it isn't like I'm not looking forward to really. I know that I'm probably gonna hate it, but I might end up liking it. I don't know. I'm really torn on that one because I do like the first Scream movie a lot, but I don't know.
The only reason why I ever watched Scream 3 was because of the Jay and Silent Bob cameo.
God, yeah, but I have an issue with guns being used by killers in movies, and fuck, in 2 they had fucking Jackie from Roseanne being the fucking main, like being one of the killers. Like, what the fuck was that shit? The third one, it's Sydney's real brother or whatever the fuck. And shut the fuck up. Although I think isn't Lance Henriksen in that one?
I don't fucking remember.
I think he's in it. I think he's one of the writers, like in the movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. He is.
Yeah. So that's the only good thing about that one.
The only redeeming quality.
Only redeeming. I mean, Lance Henriksen. It doesn't matter. I mean, fucking Hell World. Okay, not a very good movie. Lance Henriksen, great in it. So, we all know how I feel about that. So.
And if anybody cared, New Fast and Furious.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
No,
I didn't care about the first one.
John Wick 4.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's right.
I've yet to watch any of those movies. I know I need to,
Good.
but I'm such a horror whore. I'm just like, all right, I want blood, I want guts, I want gore. No, I don't always want action. Even though I do want to watch these movies, I never have that moment where I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, or I'm that guy that takes years and years and years and years to watch certain shit. I've got so many people like, man, you really gotta watch this. And I'm like, I'll get to it.
I actually just watched that movie. What was that shit? Blacklight with fucking Liam Neeson, and I'm pretty sure like he's just a bad father. like every fucking movie he's in.
Lost another kid.
Yeah.
I will find you,
What
and
is
I will
this?
kill you.
I have a certain set of skills.
Yeah, he's shitty dad.
One man, another lost child.
Doesn't include parenting.
Yeah. Home Alone
Indiana-
6.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming out 2023.
Yeah.
We'll see.
After the last one, I'm kind of like, meh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about it. I didn't know it was actually a thing till you just said that, but
Transformers
Yeah.
22.
Oh yeah, another Transformers movie.
Creed 3.
Eh.
what?
Creed
Creed
3.
3. Have you watched any of the Creed films?
Nah.
Spin-off of Rocky.
Yeah, I'm not really. Hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, you can do it. Go for it. Nah.
He did that impression last week, and I was like cracking up. Fucking, we should just have an episode where you talk like that the whole time.
We've had
said
that,
that too, yeah.
conversation
Yeah?
way back.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's good.
It's like
a
Sylvester.
good-
It's like I'll do like Sylvester Stallone or fucking Alex Gray. Either one of those, All right, Alex Gray, Alex Jones, Alex Gray. The fuck.
I think everybody did our Stallone episode.
Yeah, that was way back in the day.
Yeah.
And then of course, Chad, you're gonna be excited about this Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Sweet. Time to get back to work. I got to get in shape to film this movie. He means I'm going to be in it. Like,
Right, of course.
Is that why you have the wig now?
yeah, I'm a background dancer.
I was the chair. I was
Gotta bust out my breakaway pants and my banana hammock, and I'm good.
There you go.
On that note,
if you were getting ready to throw up on that note, tune in Friday so you can really throw up when we review Garbage Pail Kids, the movie.
yeah.
We can do anything while working with each other.
Oh,
Yes, that's right.
God.
That's right. I was singing that earlier, and I told my son, I was like, really, you should make
Were
stuff
you
together.
really?
Yeah, I was.
I
Yeah.
was thinking that.
can
I don't think
anything.
No wonder everybody over there is in a bad mood.
I like, and it gets considered one of the
He's
worst
just like,
movies
we
of all
just
time.
watch this
but
movie, Dad. Shut the fuck up.
I'm kind of excited about this, but we'll talk about that Friday.
Yep.
All right, so that about wraps it up for us tonight. Easy for me to say. We are your video store clerks. I'm Dave.
Chad, man.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Mike.
And Happy New Year!